My dear beloveds, there comes a time in every soul's journey when the mirror must become more than just glass. It must become a window, not to the world outside, but to the truth within. For too long, too many of us have given away our time like it was infinite, our peace like it was worthless, and our power like it was borrowed. No more. You were not placed upon this earth to be a spectator in someone else's story. You were crafted by divine intention, sculpted with purpose, and breathed into being not to chase approval, not to linger in comparison, but to become the fullness of your own potential. You see, time doesn't knock twice, it whispers once. And if you're too busy scrolling, doubting, or complaining, you won't hear it when it calls your name. You'll miss your own blooming while watering someone else's garden. You'll watch seasons change, dreams pass, and wonder why your harvest never came. But baby, you weren't planting in your own soil. Hear me well. Focusing on yourself is not selfish. It is sacred. It is the greatest act of responsibility. For when you honor your own growth, you become a lighthouse to others. But you cannot shine if your flame is dimmed by distractions. You cannot rise if your mind is tethered to the noise of what others think. So I say, take back your time like it's treasure. Guard your focus like it's gold. Choose your voice over the crowd's applause, and tend to your soul like it is the only garden you will ever grow. Because it is. And when the days feel heavy and the world tries to pull you in 100 directions, return to your center. Sit still. Listen to your spirit. Remind yourself that your time is holy, and your presence is power. Waste no more of it. There is something tender, something divine about the ticking of time. Each second that passes is a sacred breath. A gift, not a guarantee. Yet far too often, we walk through our days as though they are endless. We give our time to trivial matters, lend our energy to fruitless conversations, and offer our presence to people who treat it as common. But I tell you, baby, your time is not a plaything. It is a temple, and you must treat it as such. When you wake each morning, you are being handed a canvas. The question is, will you paint it with purpose, or will you let others splash it with their mess? We squander hours scrolling through other people's lives, comparing our behind the scenes to their highlight reels. We spend minutes, precious, irretrievable minutes, defending ourselves to people who will never see us clearly, instead of using that time to see ourselves more truthfully. We must stop. Not tomorrow, not next year now. There is no refund on wasted time. You don't get it back. You cannot trade in your regret for more hours in the day. The meeting you didn't prepare for, the dream you didn't move toward, the phone call you knew you shouldn't have answered. All of these are debts you pay in lost opportunity. Time, my love, is the one currency that never gains interest. It only decreases, moment by moment, breath by breath. Too many of us treat our lives like they are rehearsal, as if we'll get another act, another scene, another chance to really live. But this is it, right here, right now. Every choice you make about your time is a vote for the person you are becoming. Will you vote for distraction, or will you cast your ballot for destiny? The truth is, when you begin to value your time, you change how the world values you. People who once demanded your every moment will learn to stand at the edge of your boundary line. Invitations that do not feed your growth will quietly stop arriving. Your peace will become a magnet, and your discipline a lighthouse. You see, people can feel when you start taking yourself seriously, and that shifts the whole atmosphere around you. So I urge you, cradle your time like a newborn. Walk with it gently. Spend it like it's the last dollar in your soul's pocket. Because it just might be. And if you're going to give it away, let it be to something that moves you forward, builds you up, and roots you deeper into the person you were born to become. There is a certain sorrow that lives quietly in the heart of comparison. It sneaks in like a whisper, so subtle you hardly notice it. It tells you someone else is ahead, someone else is better, someone else is more, and suddenly, you are no longer rooted in your own journey. You are wandering through someone else's path, measuring your soul against their surface, your truth against their performance. And in that moment, beloved, you abandon your own becoming. When your eyes are always scanning the horizon to see what others are doing, you miss the miracle blooming beneath your own feet. You miss the rhythm of your own heartbeat, the melody of your own voice. You become a shadow, tracing outlines that do not belong to you. And no matter how fast you run, or how loud you try to shout, it will never feel enough. Because you are chasing something that was never meant to be yours. The trap of comparison lies in its illusion. It offers a false mirror. You see the polished, curated version of someone else and forget that every soul carries scars. You forget that joy is often mixed with grief, that strength is usually born from struggle. You assume others are ahead, not knowing what they've lost, not knowing what it cost them. But your life is not late. Your journey is not wrong. You are not behind. You are exactly where you are meant to be. If only you would stand still and honor it. Presence is your power. When you live in your own breath, walk in your own shoes and speak from your own truth, you are unstoppable. But when your mind is split, half in someone else's lane, half in your own, you cannot hear your calling. You cannot taste your joy. You cannot receive the blessings that are trying to find you because you are too busy reaching for what was never assigned to you. Every time you compare, you strip yourself of peace. You forget your own uniqueness. You rob your spirit of the space it needs to stretch, to grow, to shine. You turn your back on your own light because you are too busy staring at someone else's. And that, my dear, is not living. It is longing. It is surviving on the scraps of admiration, rather than feasting on your own brilliance. So I say this with love and fire. Stay present. Stay grounded. Trust your pace. Trust your process. You are not late. You are not lacking. You are not less. The journey of your life is not a competition. It is a sacred unfolding. And it can only bloom when you focus on your own soil. Discipline, my dear, is not a chain. It is not a prison. It is a promise, a tender vow you make to yourself that says, I am worth the effort. When you rise early to meet your goals, when you say no to what pulls you off course, when you keep going even when nobody claps, that is not control, that is care. That is love in action. That is you showing the world, and more importantly, showing yourself that your future matters enough to fight for. You see, many talk about love like it's soft, sweet, and soothing, but sometimes love shows up as structure. Sometimes love shows up as the alarm clock ringing before the sun rises, or the decision to turn off the television so you can work on your dream. It's in the small, quiet choices, the kind that no one sees, the kind that don't get praised, that you start to build a life that is not only full, but fulfilling. When you are disciplined, you are not punishing yourself. You are protecting your promise. You are guarding the gift that was placed in your spirit before the world ever told you who you had to be. It is an act of rebellion in a world that wants you lazy, distracted, and dependent. And when you choose consistency over chaos, direction over distraction, you are honoring the divine in you, the part that was born to rise. Too many wait for motivation, but discipline does not wait to feel good. Discipline shows up. It stands in the rain. It pushes past the fear. It does not beg for validation. It understands that showing up for yourself is a sacred act. And no one else can do that work for you. The applause might never come, but the results, the transformation, that belongs to you and only you. There will be days when your bed calls louder than your goals, when your doubts shout louder than your hopes. That is when you dig deep into discipline, not to prove something to the world, but to prove something to the mirror, that you are no longer living from fear or comfort, but from commitment. A commitment to your purpose, a commitment to your evolution, a commitment to the fire that lives within your bones. Because, darling, When you choose discipline, you are telling the world, I will not let my dreams die in my mouth. I will not let my vision be buried beneath my excuses. I will build, I will grow, I will become, because I respect myself enough to do so. And that kind of power, that kind of self-respect, cannot be bought, borrowed, or broken. There is a sacred truth we often forget in our rush to be everything for everybody. You cannot pour from an empty soul. You cannot keep giving when your spirit is parched. You cannot keep showing up when you've vanished from your own life. The well of your being must be filled before it can overflow. And darling, you deserve more than just survival. You deserve the abundance that comes from tending to your own soul. We are taught that to be good is to be available. To be kind is to say yes, even when we're crumbling. To be loving is to stretch ourselves so thin that we disappear. But I say love is not martyrdom. Service does not mean self-neglect. You are not a vessel to be drained at the hands of others' needs. You are a temple, a place where light lives and peace rests. And you must guard that temple, not out of selfishness, but out of deep reverence for the sacredness within you. It is not noble to be exhausted. It is not holy to be bitter behind a forced smile. That is not strength. That is surrendering your essence. And there will come a day when your body, your spirit, your joy, they will all demand repayment for what you kept giving away. They will whisper to you in aches, in silence, in dreams deferred. And if you don't listen, they will begin to scream. Self-care is not a luxury. It is a lifeline. It is not just bubble baths and quiet walks, though those things have their place. It is the boldness to say no without guilt, the wisdom to rest without shame, the power to pull back and restore yourself before you fall apart. It is choosing your peace over pressure, your health over hustle, your spirit over the noise of constant demands. When you care for yourself first, you offer the world the best version of you. Not the tired one, not the resentful one, but the whole one. That is the version that creates, uplifts, transforms. That is the version that doesn't just show up, it shines. And that kind of presence, that kind of fullness, is what the world truly needs from you. So take time to refill, my dear. Take time to return to yourself, to sit in stillness, to breathe deeply, to remember who you are when the titles are stripped away and the noise dies down. Because from that place of wholeness, you will pour not just water but wine, not just effort but impact, not just presence but power. There is a voice within you, so soft yet so sure, whispering truths the world tries to drown. It doesn't shout, it doesn't beg, it waits, patiently, powerfully, beneath the noise of expectation, distraction, and fear. That voice is your calling, and you cannot hear it until you make room for silence. Until you turn down the world's volume and lean into your own. We live in an age of endless chatter. Every screen flashes opinions. Every platform demands your attention. There's always a headline, a notification, a voice telling you who to be, what to buy, where to go. But if you're not careful, you'll mistake their noise for your purpose. You'll chase dreams that don't belong to you. You'll live a life crafted by committee, not by conviction. Silence, my dear, is not emptiness. It is elevation. It is the sacred space where clarity visits and peace takes root. In silence, you remember what your heart sounds like when it is not echoing someone else's expectations. In silence, you come home to yourself. And in that quiet return, something holy happens. You begin to hear the path that was carved just for you. You must be bold enough to unplug, brave enough to step away, strong enough to say, I cannot hear myself think, and I will not lose my voice trying to keep up with the crowd. Because when you choose stillness, you don't miss out. You rise up. You rise into awareness, into vision, into divine instruction. You begin to live from intention, not impulse. From calling, not chaos. Too often, we confuse movement with meaning. We fill our days with noise and business, thinking we are making progress. But speed without direction is wasted energy, and direction, my love, is born in silence. That's where your wisdom waits. That's where your next step unfolds. Not in the noise, not in the crowd, but in the sacred hush of your own soul. So hush the world, if only for a moment. Close your eyes, breathe, sink beneath the surface. There, in the still waters of your spirit, is a voice that knows the way, and it has been waiting for you to listen. Growth is not loud. It does not always come with applause or recognition. It happens in the quiet, in the sacred hush between who you were and who you are becoming. You cannot rush it, and you cannot fake it. True growth, the kind that transforms your bones and renews your spirit, demands solitude. It asks that you step away from the crowd, not because you are better than them, but because you are finally choosing to be better than you were yesterday. There are seasons in your life when you must pull back, not to retreat, but to refine, not to disappear, but to develop. The caterpillar does not become a butterfly in the spotlight. It cocoons. It hides away. It folds in on itself so that one day it may unfold into something entirely new. That process is sacred, and it is slow, but it cannot be rushed, and it cannot be done while dancing to everyone else's tune. Focus is the oxygen of transformation. Without it, your intentions remain wishes. Without it, your plans stay buried beneath distractions. We live in a time where everything is designed to break your focus. Every beep, every scroll, every empty conversation, pulling your attention away from your destiny. But you must guard your focus as fiercely as you guard your joy. It is the fire that will carry you through every storm. Solitude is not loneliness. It is preparation. It is the moment where you meet yourself without the noise. In solitude, you face the truth of your habits, your fears, your deepest longings. And though it may sting, it also heals. Because in that space, you are no longer pretending. You are no longer performing. You are simply present with the raw clay of who you are. And from that clay, greatness can be molded. You cannot grow if you are always accessible. You cannot evolve if you are always available to everything but yourself. There comes a moment when you must silence the world so you can hear your next instruction. That moment is not selfish. It is sacred. It is the act of stepping into alignment with the version of you that only solitude can introduce. So choose the quiet place. Choose the focused hour. Step away from the noise, not in fear, but in faith. For it is in that solitude, in that sharp and steady focus, that you will rise. Not as a version of someone else's dream, but as the truest expression of your own becoming. There will come a moment in your journey when you must look yourself in the mirror, eyes steady, heart trembling, and say aloud, I am worth the work. Not because someone else told you so. Not because the world finally clapped for you, but because something deep within you knows it to be true. Knows that the brilliance inside you is not a burden, but a birthright. And that truth, that knowing, becomes the foundation of everything you build. You see, people will tell you that healing is too hard, that dreaming is risky, that starting again is foolish, but they are speaking from their own fears, not yours. And you, my dear, must not let someone else's limitations become your ceiling. The work is not easy. The path is not smooth. But your soul was not made for easy. It was made for elevation. And every ounce of energy you pour into your own becoming is a declaration. I matter. You are not too broken. You are not too late. You are not too far gone. Whatever mountains you have climbed, whatever valleys you have wept through, they are part of your making, not the end of your story. And every time you choose to rise, to study, to speak truth, to move forward when comfort calls you backward, that is the work. That is the becoming. That is the sacred labor of honoring your own existence. So many spend their whole lives tending to others' fields while letting their own gardens wither. They feed everyone else's dreams, support everyone else's vision, and leave nothing for themselves but empty hands and tired hearts. But no more. This is the season to till your own soil, to water your own roots, to believe that your joy, your peace, your power are worth cultivating, not someday. Today, the work looks different for everyone. For some, it's breaking a cycle that's been passed down like a curse. For others, it's daring to rest when the world screams hustle. For you, it might be waking up early to write, or walking away from what no longer honors your spirit. Whatever your work is, whether it's gentle or gritty, honor it, because every step you take in the direction of your wholeness is holy. And when the days feel long, when doubt tries to shake your core, I want you to return to this one truth. You are not doing too much. You are doing what is necessary. Necessary for your growth, necessary for your healing, necessary for your rising, and above all, necessary for your becoming. Because, my love, you are not just worth the dream. You are worth every single step it takes to get there.